G'day, g'day. We're back.
We are.
Today, another episode of the SNS podcast. Today, what are we talking about?
Well, today we're going to talk about building perspective and just well, you explain it. You explain it, Sam. You had the grand idea.
All right, today we're talking about perspective and how the grass always seems greener on the other side because it's fertilized with bullshit.
Yep.
It really, really is. A lot of times, right? Both of us, both you and I, a lot of people come up to us or maybe in our DMs in one way or another tell us, "Oh, you seem to be living the best life. You seem to have everything figured out. You've been on this self-improvement grind for X number of years. You seem to be in a better place than I am. I wish I could be like you. You seem to have life figured out. Your life seems absolutely perfect."
Yep. We're not being
It's
cocky,
not.
by the way, guys. We're not being cocky. Just a quick
Mm.
disclaimer, just in case anybody
No,
who's
I'm
listening
being
to this is
100% cocky.
yeah, we're 100% flexing. We are superior to you in every single
Yeah, we're
shape and
mugging on
way.
all of you.
Yeah, we're mogging the fuck out of everyone. No, exactly. Yo, guns are coming in nicely, bro.
Mwah.
Yeah, been hitting the gym, but yeah, the just a quick disclaimer. No, we're not sort of like blowing our own trumpets and just acting like a bunch of
Yeah, we're
arrogant
not blowing
pricks.
each other.
Yeah, that happens off screen. Pause. I'll
All
censor
right.
that out.
But,
Yeah. Anyways,
mm, back to
please proceed.
business.
Back
Oh,
to business.
as we say, this is not meant to be flexing on you, saying, "Oh, look how great our lives are." Rather, the opposite, that our lives are still full of our own problems. The grass is always greener on the other side because it's fertilized with bullshit, because it's fertilized with the bullshit that's happening in your mind. For example, you might have a 9 to 5 job with a shitty manager, someone just a shitty work culture, toxic work culture. And you might look at someone like Sravan and say, "Oh, it's so nice what you have. You don't have to report to a boss. You can work whenever you feel like it. You can just leave whenever you feel like it. It must be great being you. It's shit being me." Sravan, what do you have to say to that?
Well, first of all, shut the fuck up because that's complete horseshit. Um, there is sorry, my phone's blown up right now. Um, there is no right or wrong way to live life, right? And also, it's so easy to project our feelings, or rather project our insecurities, because naturally human beings come from a state of lack, right? If you go back to like our primitive sort of state, a plane of existence, we are always looking for the thing that we are lacking. We're always seeking to fill the void, right? And in the
Mm,
modern day, because we don't have to hunt for food anymore, we are constantly chasing a lifestyle and chasing a sense of security. And a lot of this comes in the form of comparison. And I do get this. I do, I was having a conversation with one of my friends earlier today, and they said to me, "Oh, bro, like you have such an easy life. You can choose when to work when you want. You can choose when to go on holiday. You can go and leave. You don't have to answer to anybody. Life must be so easy for you because you essentially live by your own rules." And I said to them, "Yes, but what you don't see are the hours that I spend, like off camera, right? The hours that I spend working within my family business. Okay. This isn't anything to do with my family business, right? That is essentially like my 9 to 5. Now, with the family business, if I don't turn up for work, I don't get paid. Shit bust. That's what it is. If I'm sick and I don't go to work, I don't get sick pay. Okay. I don't get sick leave. I don't get sick pay. I don't get leave of absence. I don't get any of that. I work essentially 7 days a week, right? And just because my hours are shorter, it doesn't mean that, say, my workload is any more or less taxing, because the workload is still condensed. So what you would go through in a typical 9 to 5 period, which comes with the fixed sense of security that, okay, I know that if I'm sick, for example, I have sick days, or you use like your leave card or whatever it is, you're still getting paid at the end of the month, irrespective
mm,
of whether you like fulfilled your criteria, your tasks, or whatever. If people don't walk through the door and come to me for counseling, coaching, or any of my other services, I don't get money. You know, I don't get paid. So
Exactly.
the grass is not greener on the other side, you know, just because it seems that way. And
Mm.
I brought that to my friend's attention, and the funny thing about that is they just couldn't see it because they were so caught up in their own state of existence. Now, I suppose just very quickly, if you were to ask me, would I go back to that? You know, because it sounds like, oh yeah, you know, I have like similar worries. Like people in 9 to 5, they're concerned with, am I earning enough money? When you're self-employed, the concern is, am I earning enough money? Because we've got bills to pay, you know, we've got things to do, right? I suppose maybe in the beginning, because I'm at the like the sort of the early stages of creating my own business and my own franchise, that would be one of the concerns. But even say when I'm making it big and like, you know, larger streams of revenue come in, there's still always going to be that concern because if something breaks down in say the production line, the whole operation stops.
Mm.
When you're in a 9 to 5 and you're working under that remit, you don't have to worry about that so much. That's your boss's problem or the boss's boss's problem. That's a CEO
Yeah.
problem. You know what I mean? So that's my answer, really. You know, it's the grass is greenest where you water it.
Exactly. Exactly. That's where I was going to lead to it. Right.
Yeah.
Grass is greener where grass appears to be greener on the other side because it's fertilized with bullshit.
Yep.
The grass is actually greenest where you water it. So you put in the work, you water your grass, go touch your grass, go outside and touch grass.
We're gonna
And
post a
wherever you
lot of that.
water it the best, take care of it,
Yeah.
that's where it's going to be greenest.
100%, man.
So that's our idea of perspective. That when you compare yourself to others, whether they are above you or whether you perceive them to be above you, below you, at your level, or anywhere on that spectrum, you have to realize that you're viewing them through your lens, through
Right.
your own perspective. Looking at someone in a different country, their customs, their ideals, their way of life might seem absolutely foreign to you. Might seem either, oh, that's a life of luxury, or the other opposite, that's a life of barbarianism. Who the hell would do that? Well, flip the script from their perspective, your life probably looks and feels just as alien. When you have your own set of ideals
Yeah.
and you compare yourself to others, you are basing that comparison on your own set of ideals. That's not necessarily a fair playing ground because you know your own ideals. The other person that you're comparing yourself against doesn't.
Yeah.
You'd only see what they choose to present, right? This is like another thing about social media, why it seems to be causing so many young people, so many teens, a lot of mental anguish.
It's destroying
Why
people's lives.
recently
Yeah.
Yeah, and that might sound hyperbolic. That might sound like, oh, destroying lives. Oh.
Yeah.
But in a way, it really, really does. Because what we then have is people comparing, like you've probably heard of this phrase, people comparing their behind the scenes to your highlight reels or someone else's
Yep.
highlight reels.
Yeah.
Because what we choose to post on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on whatever other social media platform is perfectly curated. I want to emphasize that. It's curated by the person posting it. They're not going to post them at their worst. And even when it's a post saying, oh, look at me, hashtag no filter, they're still choosing to present one side of themselves that they would like to present. You are not
Yep.
seeing the whole picture.
Yep. Thing to take into consideration there, guys. Rather, something you should know, whether you're trying to also tap into social media, is one, social media is a tool, and it's a tool to be used right in in this day and age. It's the new way of connecting and the new way of showcasing, and that's all it is, right? Especially with apps like Instagram and TikTok, it is a showcase of your work, whether it's in a creative format, an entertainment format, or an informative format, right?
Mhm.
That's what pushes the message out there. And people get creative. People are always going to want to show their best work, one, because who wants to to look at like a highlight reel full of bloopers, unless of course that is your niche, right? Unless that's something that you are aiming to put out there. But what like the essence of that is it's always a polished product that gets pushed out there. I mean, if you look at my channel, for example, okay, yeah, a lot of my videos are like very minimally edited, but then the majority of them are unfiltered. But that's because that's my approach when it comes to the sit down content. I've now started to tap into vlogging. And the vlogs, yeah, they're going to be edited because otherwise, if I just uploaded like the whole like 3 hours of me shooting, you're just going to see a bunch of boring clips. And
Yeah.
then you'll see like the main piece of action, which I actually want to showcase, but you'll click off it because you'll see me just like walking around and just like filming a bunch of random nonsense before I actually get to the crux of what it is I'm trying to showcase and highlight. But that's the thing,
Exactly.
it's showcasing, right? So to compare your current like the way I like to look at life is like imagine from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, okay? You are conscious or and aware of every single event that's taking place in your life, every single experience. Literally from me getting up, yawning, like rubbing my eyes, going to the toilet, taking a piss, brushing my teeth, going into the shower, and then there's micro actions within that, like turning on the tap, waiting for the temperature to get to the to the
Mm.
to the correct temp, right? If you show all of that, you're literally just watching like a massive supercut. If you think of it, right? Think of life as like a movie. I think Joe Rogan actually said like imagine your life as a movie and it's constantly being documented. And then you got to think about what aspects of your life do you want to show the world. Well, it's not going to be the boring things like, oh, here's me taking a dump, guys. It's going to be like, no, like if you're going to show your morning routine, okay, you'll show like, okay, here's me trimming my beard or like washing my face, brushing my teeth, but it's all going to be quick, 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 quick
Mm.
snaps, quick snap edits. Because what you're trying to show is, okay, I'm washing my face, but I'm washing my face with Tej Henley because look how clear my skin is. I'm
More
brush
sponsored.
you know what I mean? Yeah, Tej, if you're watching this, man, drop the sponsorship. But no, I mean it's like the point is you're trying to show the best parts. But when you're currently living your life, your behind the scenes is just you living this massive supercut of from morning to evening. And it's so unfair to yourself to think, well, I'm not living this, this like Instagram real, like day in the life vlog lifestyle life. Therefore, my life is crap. The, the
Mm.
point that I actually want to make is most of you are. You're just not taking advantage of those points. And I use air quotation marks because you don't need to. If you're somebody who likes to consume, happily just be the consumer because creating content also takes a freaking hell of a lot of work. Trust me, I
Yeah,
I I know.
exactly.
The other day,
Three
I was
hours of raw footage turns into 3 minutes of actual content,
bro,
and
like
that's not including the editing, the post processing, the whatever have you.
literally,
It's a lot of work.
literally, like on TikTok, I have like I'd say a very basic setup where I record myself doing like an exercise in the gym. Okay, but in order for me to capture the attention of the audience, I need to do it with the best form, look the best. I'm not going to show myself straining and struggling and like using shit form because then it kind of defeats the purpose of the point that I'm trying to make with the video. Even though
Mm.
over that I have text with like either words of motivation or inspiration or well, I hate to it sounds kind of cringe when I say that. It's more life lessons that I've learned or lessons I've learned like from the military, young advice that I give to men, advice that I give to both men and women, for example. I think about it and I give out wholesome advice, but that takes time. It takes time for me to collate all that, right? Like just today I spent almost like an hour and a half just creating my library of videos that I'm going to present as my showcase. So
Exactly.
when people see that and they're like, "Oh, here's this guy, SK levels. I want to do what he's doing." But but I don't like I'm not into calisthenics, or I I can't do the push-ups the way that he's doing it. My life is shit because I'm weak and feeble. But what they don't see are not even the hours, bro, like the days and weeks that I
Yeah.
spent building my muscles up, building my body up, cutting down that fat. Like before we got on, you I gave you like a little bit of a show, right? I was just changing my top to my hoodie because we were just getting, it was a bit cold in the room.
Gave me
And
a
you,
strip show, by the way.
little strip show, right? Just a cheeky one, right? But you commented on my physique, right? And the thing is, I only notice these things when other people comment on them
Pointed
because
out.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so caught up in my routine of hit the gym, workout one, workout two, eat, eat, rest, you
Instant
know,
repeat. Yeah.
rinse and repeat, bro. That's my supercut. Like
Exactly.
honestly,
So
yeah.
everyone needs to realize that, when we're like, I don't have a TikTok, but when you're watching Travan's TikTok, you're viewing an hour, 3 hours, or sometimes weeks worth of work condensed into a 10 to 15-second clip. And then you think, oh, I wish I could be like that in 10 to 15 seconds. Thing is, that physique's not built in 10 to 15 seconds. It's built over countless weeks, countless months, lots of
Yes,
training
bro.
sessions, lots of eating right, lots of resting.
Yeah.
A lot of that, it's nuts.
And I wouldn't even
And
say my
people go,
physique's that
"Oh,
good right now anyways. Like I'm
yeah,
in the
exactly.
building
We
blocks.
all have ways to improve." Yeah. Oh, there was another point I wanted to bring up, but now I've kind of forgotten.
Sorry, I kind of went on
That's
like
right.
a little bit of a rant, but it's something that's been sitting on my mental for a while too because like I get it more and more through Instagram and Discord DMs where people are like, "Hey bro, I want to get into calisthenics," or "Hey bro, I want to join the military. I want to be like you. I want to be like you." And as flattering as it is, because yeah, my objective is to use myself and use my platform to step up to the mantle of like a form of leadership for young men and women alike, right?
Mm,
Because this is the business for me, right? This is a livelihood for me, and I find it extremely flattering, and it's humbling at the same time that people see me as a role model. But I can't help but feel like on the flip side, for a lot, like, especially like the young boys, you know, they they almost like romanticize the idea, like, "Hey, dude, I want to join the army just like you. I want to like
yeah, we were
do
talking about it the other day.
yeah, I want to do all this
They're
like
still
cool
in their
shit."
call. Yeah, you called it. They're still in their Call of Duty phase when they just want
Yes,
to blow shit up and get the kill streaks.
exactly, man. And I take time to sit down with them and I say, "Look, man, it's so much more than what you think it is. It is so much more than just holding a rifle and going on a battlefield." And I mean, look, I haven't been to war. I haven't stepped on a battlefield, but I know from the experience of speaking to some of my friends who have been out there, and being involved in like other forms of conflict, I know that there's so much more to the life than just what's portrayed through movies, games, and like other forms of social
Yeah.
media, right?
Movies and games definitely glorify it a lot.
Yeah.
And then the documentaries that portray it in a more real to life perspective. Funny, was talking about perspectives. The
Yeah.
movies that, like, the documentaries that portrayed to be the shitty thing that it is,
Yeah.
the tons of suffering and just not great living conditions.
It's
Those
horrifying, man.
movies don't Yeah, those movies don't really get the same level of recognition or the same level of hype, shall we call
Hmm.
it? Because everyone wants to see the cool action movie where the cool guy, James Bond or what have you, goes
Yeah.
around shooting all the bad guys and winning the war, winning the battle, and then coming home to the hot babe. The reality is far from that. And the reality is just a lot of death, a lot of suffering, a lot of loss.
Yeah.
But that's not romantic.
No.
Sorry, that's not very hypeable. Right? People don't get hyped for loss. People get
Yeah.
hyped for a win. People don't
Yeah.
get hyped for a loss, for suffering, for sadness.
Exactly.
They just go, "Oh, I'm not interested in that movie." let's hop onto something that's more action packed.
It's like Ronnie Coleman, a very very famous figure in the bodybuilding industry.
Mm,
He has this expression. He says everybody wants to be a bodybuilder, but nobody wants to live heavy ass weight. And
yeah.
it's very much that case. Like everybody wants to be a soldier. Everybody wants to be a war hero. Coming home
Mm,
after raising the like literally one man arming it up that hill, taking the hill, raising the flag, hoisting the colors, and then being welcomed in your homecoming parade with stars and fucking medals and everything. But that's just the very glitzy and glamorous and honestly the unrealistic side of what happens, because in the whole
very, very unrealistic.
that's what just gets showcased, right? Because it's
Yeah.
appealing, it's attractive. What happens behind the scenes, however, is people watch their friends get killed. People watch other people just get absolutely like disfigured and dismembered and blown up, and there's a whole lot of confusion and chaos and screaming and
Yeah.
suffering and blood and guts, right? We're
And
using this military analogy.
even if people don't end up dying, you still suffer in one way or another.
Yeah,
PTSD is a very, very real thing.
it's huge,
I'm
man.
I'm very grateful that I've never had to go to war or anything remotely close to it.
Yeah,
But as we see in the news, as we see in the media, well, depends on your exposure to certain outlets. PTSD is a very, very real thing. And in the past, it was just, oh, man up, you little pussy. Just get over it.
yeah.
Just be glad not to be in war anymore.
It's funny.
But
Yeah, go on.
people are
Sorry.
still permanently scarred.
Yeah,
People are permanently scarred from these experiences. It is not something that you should be actively trying to go, oh, yeah, I want a piece of that. Yeah, give me some
yeah,
of that suffering. I want to be a big man.
yeah, yeah.
It's
Exactly.
really not.
Let me go and get shot at and experience that. It's funny because yesterday, yesterday, I was helping one of my friends run a bleep test because she's trying to get into the police, and
Mm,
part of that is like their sort of like fitness test is to pass a bleep test. And while we were while we were getting ready to set it up and everything, I noticed this old man on like a stroller was walking through the area that we were going to run through, and he was there with his wife. And he then commented, he was like, "Oh, I'm glad like those days are done for me.
mm,
I was just like fit as a fiddle when I was younger and back when I served." And so I said, "Oh, okay, you served. What unit were you part of?" And he was in the Royal Air Force. And then we had a little conversation, as two generations of servicemen sort of
mm,
meeting again, and we were just explaining, sort of talking about our experiences of what it was like when we were in. And he said, "Yeah, well, when I joined up, I mean, we actually didn't have a choice. It was, we're at war, we need you, you're going. There was no, yeah, you have the choice of going and doing battle if you'd like, or you can join this unit if you'd like." It was like, no, this is where we are depleting in assets. We are depleted in assets. We need people to fill these roles, to bolster the ranks. There you go. 6 weeks training. Okay, cool. You're going into a Lancaster, and you're going to go and do battle with the Germans over the White Cliffs of Dover, and then you have no say. Shit bust. And it was
mm.
literally as do or die as that. I think, I think, from that conversation and bringing it here, I think that a lot of the reasons why people compare so much with their lives is because there's so much choice. When you take away choice from somebody, there's no time to and compare and compare and procrastinate, because you are constantly fulfilling a duty, constantly working towards a goal, or a purpose. I think a lot of the
Mm.
reasons why people are always looking over the fence to see what their neighbors are doing is because they've got too much time on their hands. And it yeah, it's an element of complacency and comfort. I think comfort is the root of all of these. Like, oh, I'm gonna say it, man. Comfort is the root of all these new age mental illnesses. It's like you're not actually suffering
Yeah.
from like whatever you think it is. What you're actually suffering from is FOMO, big FOMO.
Mm.
Because if you wanted to make the change, you'd apply yourself. But in order to apply yourself to make that level of a change, you need to treat that action as though it's the only thing that matters in the world. So if you want to move from a 9 to 5 job to building your own business, you need to, I mean, yes, you need to fulfill your obligations, but at the end of the day, you're driven by a different level of steam. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I'm not sure I fully agree with, like, 100% agree with that. We're on the same wavelength. We agree more
Mhm.
than we disagree. But on that, I think that just because someone else had it worse than you doesn't mean your suffering is invalid. Just
No.
because, like we like to compare this, like, sorry, our parents like to compare this. It's like, oh, when I was a kid, I had to climb 5 mountains to go to school. I had to battle 3 tigers on the way,
Yeah, yeah.
and crazy stories like that. And then they
It's
say, oh,
true.
you're in a life of luxury. All you have to do is hop in the car or hop in the bus, and then 10 minutes
You're good
later,
to
you're at
go. Yeah.
school. Yeah. And objectively, we have a much, much better life than our parents.
Yeah,
Objectively, we do.
for sure.
But subjectively, in a twisted way, in a quite a sick and twisted way, we kind of, when I say we, I mean me really, and possibly a lot of people, we
The
kind
royal
of
we.
yearn for that kind of battle. Because even though, so I'm a second generation immigrant. So my parents came from China. I was born here in Australia. So I never had to go through the immigration journey. And I'm very grateful for that. But my parents keep harping on about how tough it was. And I'm sure it was tough. But because I can never relate to that, I've never gone through that journey myself. That immigration journey where just carrying a backpack full of clothes and that's all you had. And voila, you're in a different country or in a suitcase in their case. I never had to do any of that, which means I can never relate when they say, "Oh, I had to suffer through this, I had to suffer through that." I didn't get it.
Yeah, I get
But
that.
that doesn't invalidate the thoughts and feelings that I have. That doesn't invalidate the suffering that I have to go through. Because yeah, on the surface, objectively, which one would, if you ask the vast majority of people without knowing any of the specific circumstances, would you rather be bullied a little bit, or would you rather live in poverty and have to go through all this suffering and all that stuff? For a lot of people, they say, "Yeah, I'll put up with the bullying," because their perspective, right? This is all tying back to perspective. Their perspective is, I don't have money, right? For a lot of people in the globe, third world countries, they're living in relative poverty and objective poverty, like absolute poverty. They don't have the quality of life that we do. Like we're lucky that we have a whole room to record in. We're lucky that we have, professional microphones. We
Yeah,
have cameras.
yeah,
We
yeah,
have internet connection. We have running water. Objectively, this is amazing. A lot of people in third world countries would die, well, like would kill to have what we have because this is their perspective. They are living in relative and absolute poverty. And yet that does not invalidate the thoughts and feelings and concerns and suffering in massive air quotes that we have.
yeah. You know, you
At the
hit the
end of
nail
the
on
day,
the
it
head
all
there.
boils down to perspective. It
Yeah,
all boils down to what perspective, excuse me, all boils down to what perspective you have
no,
and where you're coming from when it comes to comparisons like that.
yeah, bro. You 100% hit the nail on the head. Actually, while you were saying that, it brought up I mean, just analogy after analogy, but just to also build more of a comparison. uh, I'm not from the UK. I was born in South Africa, and then I moved over. So technically, I also am an immigrant, although I've lived here pretty much all my life. So I'm nationalized
Mm,
British, but all my family is back in South Africa, right? And I remember every time that we would go down to visit, I'd have the specific sort of conversation would take place with like my aunt, for example. I know that You know, when people like sort of like low key joking, but kind of not at the same time. Um, it was, and you'll understand more of the context as I explain. It's, you know, she'd say, okay, so when you're coming down, bring some of the pounds because of the exchange rate. And you know, we it's not like we took umbrage to it, but I think again, like you said, when you don't have something and when you feel like to an element like you're lacking or you are without, it's very easy to look at those that have and then jump to the conclusion that they have it so easy. Like,
Yeah.
every like literally it just comes to them. Like it's like they don't have to lift a finger to live the good life or to do X, whatever X is, you know what I mean? Or just to acquire. And I remember once like my mom said, well, you know what, it's all well and good you say that, but yes, we earn in the pounds, but don't forget we also spend in pounds. So
Yeah.
it's all relative, and like that's the expression that keeps coming to me. It's all relative. So in terms of building perspective, just the term perspective itself can be linked to, well, it's all relative because it all depends on what side of, say, the fence or the line or whatever, or
Which side of the
s-
grass?
yeah, which side of the grass, if there is grass, what part of the social economic ladder you're in, what rung of the ladder you're on. Your perspective will greatly be affected by those things. And that's not to say that you are like instantly locked in forever to live by that lifestyle, because this podcast is all about self improving, to develop and
Mm.
improve oneself. So, moving forward from this, wherever you find your sort of living experience situated, if you're looking for a change of perspective, Sam, what would you say the first point of shifting one's perspective should be?
Gratitude. Gratitude, meditation. Like this is the bog standard how to do
Yeah.
self-improvement thing. Go meditate, go journal,
It sounds
go
boring,
whatever.
but like,
It sounds
uh,
boring. It sounds bullshit from the outside until you actually try it because that meditation calms the mind, allows you to actually gather your thoughts. These days we're on our phones scrolling. Like that's why short form content, TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, that's why they're taking off because people can't just stay focused for more than a minute.
yep.
And I'm saying that as if I can, but actually I suffer from that too. I
Yeah.
find myself a lot of times when I'm at work and a file is taking like 3 seconds too long to load. I find myself, oh, better whip out the phone, better whip out some distraction. Even though I just have to wait an extra 5, 10 seconds for that file to load, I can't sit still for 5, 10 seconds without me actively realizing, oh, I'm getting distracted. Let's focus for that 5 seconds or however long it takes for the file to load.
It's like the new
So
world has ADHD. Like everybody just has like a level of ADHD now.
yeah, exactly. So doing meditation, even just 3 minutes, like 3 minutes sounds like an awfully short time, but so many people can't even sit still for 3 damn minutes.
30
It just
seconds. 30
yeah,
seconds,
30
man.
seconds is a win for a lot of people because they can't sit still for 30 milliseconds.
Yeah.
Anyways, so meditation allows you to clear the mind, remain a bit focused for a bit longer. It's like progressive overload. It's like at the gym. You start with, 10 kilos, then 12 kilos, 15 kilos, 20 kilos. Progressive overload with meditation too. Maybe you can only start with seconds. That's okay. That's where you're starting from. Next time, 35 seconds, 50 seconds, 60 seconds, 120 seconds, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Progressively overload your ability to focus, your ability to just clear your thoughts and focus on whatever have you. A lot of meditation apps use the breath, focus on breathing in, breathing out. So that's the first step. Second step, gratitude journaling. And I know a lot of people think, oh, that's gay, bro. You're writing in a diary. That's gay. That's for girls.
Yeah.
I'm a big macho man. I
Fuck that,
write
man.
in
I
a
just deal with
journal.
my problems. I just deal with them. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just
big
drink a
man.
cup of concrete and harden the fuck up.
Yeah, just have a fucking
But
beer, man. You'll
actually,
be good.
yeah, journaling, writing down your thoughts, forming concrete thoughts, holding those thoughts and thinking about them, committing them to paper, Do this with pen and paper. You can do it on the phone, you can do it on the keyboard, and it just feels different when you can just hit backspace and just rewrite what you can.
A journal is
I
much
do
more
mine on pen and
personal.
paper.
Yeah,
Exactly. And then
much more
also the
personal.
benefit of having like a journal like this is you can later down the line, 1 month later, 1 year later, flip back to what you originally wrote. And then you realize with that perspective, again, this all ties to perspective. After a year, even after a month, flip back to what you wrote previously.
Yep.
Oh, I used to think that. I don't think that anymore because of XYZ. And then that's how you can see the growth. It's just like at the gym. You go do a workout, you go look in the mirror. Oh, I'm sad. I didn't make any gains. You did. You just can't realize it on the scale of days to days. But on the scale of months, on the scale of years, absolutely, you
Hmm.
can see the results. It's like what you were saying earlier about me complimenting your physique. You don't realize that you're making small incremental gains because on a day to day basis, there seems to be no change.
Yeah.
But on a weekly, on a monthly basis, god damn, there is a big change.
Yeah.
So that is how you improve your perspective, really. Sit down, focus, and clear your mind.
Yep.
Because without that constant lizard brain or the monkey brain, whatever you want to call it, constantly telling you that you are insignificant, constantly telling you that you are not enough, constantly telling you that you are missing out on something. Once that voice is quieted, once you shut that voice down, then you can truly reflect and ask, what is it that I want? What is it that makes me feel insignificant? What are my goals? Are those goals your goals? Or are they the goals that someone has put into your mind? I've got a video coming out pretty soon about this too, where you know how they say you're the uh, what's the phrase? You're the average of the five closest friends,
Oh
or
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
These days, we don't interact with friends anymore, and if we do, it's through our screens, through a digital medium. So rather, you are the average of the content that you consume. Think about that.
Is that what the video is going to be
You're
on?
the that is, you are the average of the content that you consume.
I'm definitely
If you
tuning
watch a
into
lot
that.
of if you're watching a lot of self-improvement videos, naturally your thoughts will gravitate towards that. I'm sure you've experienced it too,
Oh yeah.
where if you just binge on a particular channel, once you discover a channel and you just binge on their content over the course of a week,
Yep.
at the end of the week, even if you've run out of content to watch, you start thinking like them, at least temporarily.
Yeah.
And then if you're binging on a lot of, I don't know, gaming videos, then all we can think about is, oh, I want to play that game. I want to do those
Yeah.
cool
No.
moves. I want to be like
Absolutely.
Call of Duty, getting that 10 kill streak and all that.
Yeah. Maybe I'll join the army
The
afterwards because it seems like it's easy. Yeah, dude.
yeah.
100%. Yeah. 100%. Absolutely. I
So once
noticed a
so once you
shift.
take that once you take that step back, once you do the meditation, and this is not something that you can do in an instant, right? This is not like a TikTok reel. Oh, I watched the
No.
10 seconds. I can now gravitate. I can now meditate and journal.
Yeah.
No, this takes time too. There's plenty of guides on how to meditate, how to journal, etc.
Yeah.
But the idea is you focus on your thoughts, on your thoughts. What made you think those thoughts? Don't just say, "Oh, I want to be a jacked bodybuilder." Why? What makes you think you want to be a jacked bodybuilder? Because everyone else wants to be. Aha, there you go. Everyone else wants to be, but do you want to be?
Yep.
It'll get me the girls. Will it
Will it?
actually? Will it?
It doesn't, by the
There are
way,
plenty
guys.
of jacked, plenty of jacked bodybuilders who are forever alone. There's plenty of fatties who have the time of their lives with their
Yeah.
partners. Think about that for a sec.
Yep.
Your
Just
goals, are they truly your goals,
or society's
or
goals.
are they the goals that someone else has put in your mind?
Yep. Are you living
And even when it comes to
vicariously?
self-improvement, even when it comes to self-improvement, like this is all in a loop. Even when it comes to self-improvement, the self-improvement goals that you set for yourself, it's likely due to some YouTube channel, some article, some personality that tells you, hey, you should do the X, Y, and Z. Even right now, I'm telling you to go meditate. I'm telling you to go journal. I'm telling you to reflect.
Go meditate, bitch.
You choose if you choose to do that, it's because I told you to.
Yeah.
I won't take full credit, right? You're probably already on that direction,
Hmm.
but you were nudged there by consuming this podcast. You were nudged there by consuming this content. Any closing
100%.
thoughts?
Dude, I mean, Already, you hit the nail on the head. All I will say is, just to quickly, just very quickly tapping on when I asked you, like, how do you change your perspective? If you just think about what we said about how your life is basically one massive supercut, right? And then when you look at what people showcase on social media, like for myself, when I'm on Instagram and I'm putting my comments and my things and everything, it's usually me doing something, right? Like earlier today, I was cutting the grass, and that's when I thought of that Joe Rogan expression. It's probably not Joe Rogan who said it. It's the better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Do you know who
Mm.
says that? Who was the original?
Sounds like a Confucius quote.
Yeah,
Who
like a
knows?
Confucius, or even like maybe even like Marcus Aurelius said it. But either way, right? I thought about that as I was doing my garden, and I thought, this would be a really good sort of point to put across to my following. And then people saw that and they interacted with that. That right there was me taking the little snapshot of the 45 minutes that it took for me to water my plants and cut my grass and everything, right? By you doing the boring, mundane stuff, you are working behind the scenes. So by meditating, journaling, exercising, you know, practicing the good habits, the same things that you do day in, day out, that's you working behind the scenes. That's the graft. That's what we call grafting, right? That's the work that you put in. When you reach a certain milestone, even a mini milestone of, hey, look, like I've lost body fat, or my mind is clearer. I'm starting to think clearer. I can articulate my words better. I can hold eye contact when I'm talking to people. When I see an attractive girl, the first thought that goes into my head is, "Oh, she looks nice," as opposed to trying to reenact your favorite scene from Pornhub, right? Dude, it's the truth though. I mean, look, we don't beat around the bush, okay? We're not here to just give you some soft, fluffy, feel good. Um, Everything's gonna be okay. Just be you, BS. Yes, be you, but understand first of all what it takes to be you. Do you know what it takes to be you? I bet you don't.
You don't even know what you is. You don't
Exactly.
even know who you are.
And these little like tidbits of information, it's 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 like reconnecting the circuits to run in a perfect uh, circuit, reconnecting the wires to run in a perfect circuit. So that way, your your information flow is smoother, and you can come to the conclusion of, I understand now. While I enjoy working out, I don't need to look like C-Bomb. I don't need to look like Hamza, even though I love him. I don't need to be like SK, who just like throws himself into calisthenics and falls over all the time. But it I mean, it looks fun, but it's not for me.
Mm.
You figure out your own path. You figure out who you want to be, but you do this work, and then your milestones. That's up to you then on whether you want to snap it, vlog it, write about it, publish it in a blog or whatever. Most importantly, let that be your own personal showcase, right? That's why we say, like when it comes to fitness, take progress pics, because, yeah, body dysmorphia will settle in as you're making the change. You live in your skin all the time, so you won't see the difference. I only knew that I was making progress when Sam said to me, yeah, you know what? Physique's coming in, bro. And I was just like, oh, really? Shit, thanks. Because when I look in the mirror, I just see I see week one, day one me. Honestly, no joke. Like, every
Yeah.
day, bro. Every day. And like even when my family are like, oh yeah, like your chest and all this stuff is coming out. I'm just like, oh, thanks, man. I wish I could see it, but you know what I mean? It's because you're in
Yeah,
there all the time. So
exactly. I like the phrase you use. You live in your own skin 24/7. Of course, you don't realize this stuff because on a minute to minute basis, you're not changing very much.
how can you?
But on a week or a monthly basis, absolutely.
Exactly. So yeah, in closing, all I'll say is with regards to perspective, just remember the grass is green where you water it.
Mm.
Stop worrying what's cooking in someone else's pot. Just focus on mixing your own ingredients and make your own thing blend, because you were born unique. Why do you want to be a carbon copy of the next man when when you could be the next big influencer? You could be the next like iconic rapper. You could be the next fucking Brad Pitt or whatever it is, right?
Mm,
Never mind Brad Pitt. Whoever you insert name, that's who you are. That's who you could be. That's someone that the world has yet to see. But in order to get there,
exactly.
you've got to you've got to work on yourself. You need to water your own grass. Stop trying to worry about what other people are doing to water theirs. That's it for me.
All right. That's it from us today.
All right,
Enjoy.
boys. Enjoy. Take care.
We're done.
Peace.